Okay, y'all, I'm trying to figure out how this works. This is my first ever time going live with a guest. And so I'm curious how this is gonna work. Let's see. Hi, Danielle. Hi, Carmel. I feel like, especially the two of y'all, we are home within just a few minutes of each other. Hi, Karen. Yes, I'm live. You caught me live. I go live a lot. Oh, did they? They took away going live with someone. We try to do this on Instagram, and Instagram is having some connectivity issues, and so yeah, this is a hot mess right now. Corona's happening. Wi-Fi is crazy. I'm just gonna hang out for a little bit and see if my person can come on. See what's going on. Anyway, while we're waiting, if y'all haven't noticed, the world's a little panicky right now. The world is a little triggered. And it's so funny. I have all these clients that have been bitching for weeks that we want to break, we want to break, we want to break, we want to break, we want to break. And now the break is here and they're like, free time gives me time to focus on my marriage or my partnerships or what I want or my business or my goals or my dreams. And this is a really unique opportunity we have where our feet are getting put to the fire and where we're getting some traction on maybe what we want. Maybe we're getting some instruction on clear requests of what we want. Danielle said, not like this. Yes. We're getting some opportunity to look at things in a different way. Whenever anything happens where we're showing up in a time of chaos or stress, we can choose how we respond, right? We can choose. We get to choose how we react. We get to choose how we respond. We get to choose what our response is to stress, what our response is to overwhelm, what our response is to overwhelm. We get to choose how we handle pressure. And sometimes it doesn't feel like that. Sometimes we're so caught up in, hi Mercedes, hi Bales. Sometimes we're caught up in the day-to-day, in the, oh my gosh, now my kids are home for 2 weeks, or oh my gosh, I'm not feeling well, or how am I going to go find toilet paper? And we get so caught up in what feels like a really big trigger, when if we could just take a step back and give ourselves some space to breathe, we can actually regulate our nervous system and stop our fight, flight, or freeze response. So I'm waiting for my guests to show up to be able to pop on. We had some connectivity issues on Facebook. There, let me see if I can add you. Let's see. How do I add you? See if you can figure out a way to request to join a live. Maybe that's how we'll have to do it. While we're figuring this out, one quick ritual that you guys, or practice, if you don't love the word ritual, that you can use is to keep a promise to yourself. I talk about this when I talk about trust building, when I'm coaching clients through letting go of anxiety and overwhelm. When you are anxious, and the world is freaking anxious right now, when you are anxious, you have the capacity to pause. It might not feel like you do, but I promise you do. You have the capacity to just pause for a second. And there are a couple things you can do. You can notice your 5 senses. So what are things that you hear? What are things that you see? What are things that you feel or that you can touch? What are things that you can smell? What is something you can taste? And if you think about it, it will actually ground you into your 5 senses. So that's a really quick, simple practice. Another thing that you can do is what I call 10 good things. You can list out 10 good things. It actually will redirect your brain and rewire your brain for new neural patterns toward positivity. So what are 10 good things? 10 good things right now. I get to spend extra time with my family. I'm in love with these super cute earrings that were like $1. The sun is shining. We're not having rain in Phoenix right now, and I love that. I got to sleep in this morning. My work is going really, really well. Those are just simple things off the top of your head. So if you're having a moment where the world feels like it's imploding, or you're going to have what I call a pressure cooker moment, which is when you explode all over everyone because your needs aren't being met. If you're going to feel like that, just take a second and pause, tune into your senses, and then list 10 good things. What are 10 good things? They can be your sip of coffee. They can be loving the color that you're wearing today. Doesn't matter. They just need to be 10 good things. I just got a text. Let's see if I can add. Ooh, Carmel, your husband made you bacon and eggs this morning. I love it. I had a breakfast burrito. I just got your text. I don't think I can add your page. I can add you, but I don't even know how to add you right now, though. This is funky. So it's interesting. Real life example, what's happening right now is I try to go live with Kim on Instagram, and we tried 3 or 4 times and video is freezing, and now we're trying Facebook, and it's not working either. So my response to this could be anxiety, right? My response to this could be frustration. My response to this could be feeling irritated. And instead of that, how cool is it that we get to live in a world where I can connect with someone on the internet and talk to all of you live from the floor of my bedroom in 2020. Like, technology is really cool. And it's interesting that the sync up is not happening. I wonder what else needs to happen. I wonder what is here. Why is it showing up like that? So while we get this tech stuff figured out, I want to know from you guys, what is it that you need today? I'm a huge fan of talking about needs and wants. It's the big second chunk of my coaching, my 3-month coaching package. The second chunk is called Clarity, and you get to clarify in that 4-week period in the middle what your needs and wants are. So what are you actually feeling? What are you actually needing? What are you actually wanting? And maybe your need is peace. Maybe your need is reassurance. Maybe your need is to be seen and heard. Maybe you're feeling irritated. Maybe you're feeling scared. Maybe you're feeling sad. Maybe you're feeling annoyed. There's been a lot of my clients who are feeling annoyed at social distancing. They're feeling annoyed at how things are shutting down. They're feeling annoyed that their kids are home for 2 weeks, right? So there's no wrong answer. You're allowed to feel how you feel. You're allowed to need what you need and want what you want. But my goal is to have you be able to articulate those things. You have to be able to know what they are and say them, because no one's a mind reader. So Carmel says my impulse is spending. Yeah. So you're finding that your impulse is to spend more money. So what's underneath that? Is what's underneath that fear? Or do you have a need for security and stability that maybe isn't getting met somewhere else? Like, everything is showing up to teach us something. So what, and you don't have to answer that on live, Carmel, that's just for you, but what's underneath the impulse? Because the impulse, generally we have impulses because we have a need that's unmet. And it can show up a lot of different ways. And so my goal as a coach is always to get to the root need. What is the most important thing? What's the need that's being met by that impulse? And then could we get it met a different way? If that impulse isn't working for you, could we get it met a different way, maybe a healthier way? Carmel said she needs time. What does that mean? What kind of time? What does it look like? These are things that get really clear on, you guys, because if you just walk up to somebody and say, I need peace, they don't know what to do with that. They don't know peace for someone else might mean social distancing. Peace for someone else might mean eating an entire box of Reese's eggs, right? Peace for someone else might mean huge social gatherings or getting on a plane to Bali or whatever. So we got to know what the need is and what we're feeling first, and then what would it look like. So Mercedes says, I'm actually loving this time. I need someone to come help me organize my pantry and craft room. Awesome. So Mercedes loves the more introverted way that the world is leaning these past couple weeks, future couple weeks. I need someone to come help me organize my pantry and craft room. So Mercedes, underneath that, what is the base need? Is it that you need a clean house? Is it that you need a peaceful home environment? Is it that you are feeling chaos and you actually need to be relaxed? What is the need that's underneath that? So what I'm doing, you guys, is I'm helping you drill down on what's actually going on. So many times we have a need and we either create a story around it, like, for example, if I need to feel safe, maybe I created the story that I only date guys that are unsafe. I only date guys that are whatever, fill in the blank. Or maybe your need is healthy food, but you have a story that you have to stop at McDonald's before you go home, right? So sometimes the stories that we create are actually at odds with our needs. And if you can find out what your need is, you can get really clear on what it is that you actually want and need. Danielle said, this is showing me how introverted I am because I can't see what it says. Because my life doesn't feel any different. Yeah, it's really interesting. So you didn't feel like your life had to shift a lot with all the quarantining that's happening and social distancing that's happening. So yeah, it's showing you that your life is largely, from your routine perspective, unaffected. Which is, I don't know, does that give you a sense of peace? Does it give you a sense of stability that your routine didn't have to change at all? Are you happy about that? What I'm talking about, you guys, and this is what I cover when I coach, is when we feel anxious, and I posted this on my Facebook wall, when we feel anxious, you guys, our anxiety is a GPS internally that tells us when we're focusing on problems instead of possibilities. So when you are freaking out, and even if it's warranted, you guys, even if you are out of toilet paper and you can't go find any, when you are freaking out, you put yourself in a state where your brain is in chaos, your nervous system is in chaos, and you have to be able to pause in that moment and redirect yourself. Am I thinking about problems, like, oh my God, I'm not gonna be able to go to the bathroom and I'm gonna have to buy a bidet, and what does this mean? And my aunt actually was gonna use coffee filters because she couldn't find toilet paper. So is your anxiety going to push you towards a problem or a possibility? Because if you haven't noticed, the world's a little anxious right about now. Danielle said, I'm actually feeling annoyed because everyone is sharing how much time they got back and I didn't get any. So you guys are watching this unfold right now. Danielle just said she didn't have any schedule change, which, because Danielle and I are besties, I know that a couple of extra details that you guys don't know about her work schedule. And this has resulted in a feeling of annoyance because Danielle is seeing everybody change their schedule, everybody get time off of work, everybody have extra time to do leisure activities, maybe not the way that we wanted it. And her result is a feeling of annoyance because she's not getting that. So Danielle, if you're feeling annoyed at everybody else getting time back and you didn't have that, what is the need that you have underneath that? And what does it look like? So maybe it's a need to stay home, or a need for a day off, or a need for respect at work, or a need for health and safety. You guys, that's huge right now. Maybe it's a need for a peaceful home environment, or maybe it's just the need of being seen and heard and understood, that it's really hard for you to continue your regular schedule when the world feels like it's imploding, right? Like, these are all super valid, you guys. We like to pretend that we don't need anything, especially ladies. We pretend that we don't need anything. We pretend that we're fine. We pretend that we don't have a problem because we think that if we have a problem, something's wrong with us. Newsflash! Nothing's wrong with you. It's important and completely normal and human to have needs and feelings and wants. And so when we have the ovaries or the balls to shine a light on those needs and to let people know what they are, we can actually get met with some support, which is really cool. Another thing that I wanted to bring up I don't know what's happening with our bonus guest, so I'm just going to let this play out. Another thing that I wanted to talk about is the possibility that someone that you're chatting with is not a safe person. And so here's what I mean by this. When you find out your wants and needs, and when you find out how you're feeling, I want you to be really cognizant of who you're sharing that with. Because some people might not be able to support you right now. They might be in their own panic and overwhelm and anxiety spiral, and they might not even have the capacity to hear you. And so what can happen is we spew our needs and our wants and our feelings without being able to first check in if the other person or people have space for us. So right now, I have space for you. You can share with me how you're feeling. You can share with me what's going on because I have space. But it's not that way for everybody. And so how do you know if someone is safe? If you are sharing your feelings and wants, or your anxiety, or your freak out, or your annoyance that your kids are home, whatever the case may be, okay? If you're sharing that and the other person is quick to give you advice, they cut you off, they interrupt you, they judge, they assume, that's somebody that is not safe, okay? Hear me, please, and hear my heart when I say this. You deserve to be heard. You deserve to have space to feel what you're feeling without somebody else mixing their emotions into it and stirring them around. If you've never had that experience, I'd love to chat with you, because it's really, really profoundly powerful when you get to be witnessed just in what you're in without somebody adding their own stuff to the mix, okay? So make sure that when you're talking to somebody, if you're feeling unsteady, if you're feeling unstable, talk to somebody that is safe. Somebody that's not going to give you advice, somebody that has the capacity and awareness and time and energy to hear you and be able to be a space holder for you, a healthy one, okay? Christy says, I'm a nanny. I get no time off. Plus, I get to do e-learning with my kid home. I work for 2 doctors. Thankful, but I'm not a teacher. I need my teachers. Yeah, so you're having an experience, Christy, where your daughter is home and you're teaching her, you're taking place of school, but you're also nannying and taking care of a lot of kids. A lot of responsibility and a lot of energy. It's a big deal. Hi, Taka. Heidi says, this is really good to listen to. Thank you for your light here. You're welcome. Karina says, hi, hello. Heidi says it's a sense of good vibes. Thank you. Yeah, I wanted to pop on, and I had plans to pop on with a special guest and do some readings and some coaching and just share peace. Right now, I feel really peaceful. I feel really connected. I feel really content and happy. And so I just wanted to share that. Mercedes says, how do you find those safe people? This is great. So in my first section of my coaching practice, we have a 3-month container. In the first month, it's called Reveal. And part of my Reveal program, it's week 3 or 4 that we work together, we talk about the roles matrix. The roles matrix is a system that I designed to allow you to hone in on the roles that you want to play for other people and who can support you when you're in those roles. So to give you guys the Cliff Notes version, think about the role that you most play for people. So it could be mom, it could be wife, it could be husband, it could be son or daughter, it could be teacher, nanny, benefits administrator, coach, whatever. I want you to think about that, and I want you to think about who's on your team. So are there people in your life that can support you in that role that are safe? Meaning they don't judge, they don't assume, they don't give advice, they don't interrupt you, they don't make things about them. Personal experience is fine, but what happens is if you start to share something and someone leans in and vomits all of their personal experience all over your story, you start to feel a little bit resentful and maybe unheard. And so, Mercedes, I would challenge you to make a list of the people that you feel supported by, and then circle the ones on that list that can be safe. Can they talk to you? Can they hear you? Can they be witness to you and hold space for you without injecting all their own loveliness? Danielle said they finally sent us home full time. It felt really shitty to know our health and safety wasn't a priority. So yeah, Danielle, looping back on this conversation, wasn't allowed to stay home from work. They didn't change any schedules, and she was feeling annoyed that everybody else got time back. And I asked for clarification. She said they finally sent us home. So now she gets to work from home full time, but is feeling a lingering feeling that her health and safety wasn't a priority because of the way that her employer reacted. And I'm leaving employer names out because this is a public live, so doing that on purpose. But I wanted to address that with Danielle. You're feeling like your health and safety wasn't a priority. You're feeling like maybe work didn't have your best interests at heart. And so what is the need underneath that? It sounds like it might be a need for respect. Sounds like it might be a need for care. Sounds like it might be a need for feeling seen and understood and heard. I'm curious what that need is for you. Mercedes says, that leaves me with one person. Yeah. A lot of us, we like to report to people who actually aren't safe. And a lot of us get reported to. Like, we become the container for people to puke all over. And that's why in my third module of my coaching program, we talk about boundaries and how to say no. We create a truth-telling manifesto. We create a pressure cooker moment. So pressure cooker moments are the moments when you are so agitated that you end up blowing up all over everybody. Imagine like an Instant Pot blowing up, right? You just can't hold it anymore and you explode all over everybody because your needs haven't been met. You don't know how to communicate them. You're stressed AF. You're pressured and overwhelmed and you're like, just can't hang anymore. And so we actually create a pressure cooker protocol where on those moments when you're feeling like, OMG, I'm gonna blow up at my kids or my husband or my wife or my boss or whatever, you can actually have a step-by-step personalized plan we're gonna work through together to be able to not do that, to be able to get your needs met and not blow up all over everybody. So boundaries is a huge deal. A lot of us like to curate faux support. So we report to people that actually aren't safe, or we keep friends around that can't handle us, or don't have time or space. And that's not a slight against them. It just, we are used to only getting 10% of someone's attention. And so if you've never had an experience where you get to be witnessed and seen and heard 100% full on, I would love to provide that for you, just so you know what that feels like and you can have a compass to be able to direct toward. Like, if you've never been witnessed without an agenda, you guys, that's one of the most powerful things I've ever had happen in my whole life. This is why I have a coach. Every coach has a coach. Every good coach should have a coach, because it's like a doctor that believes in medicine, right? And so I think it's really important that you have the opportunity to be witnessed and be able to express what you want and what you need and how you're feeling and what roles you want to play and what you care about and how to fill your tanks and how to say no and how to find those supportive people in your life, how to know what roles you want to play and who you want to show up for and who gets the best of you. Who do you want to be for yourself and other people, right? We have all those important things we need to suss out and feel out, because if we don't, we leave it to chance. And what can happen is we end up being accountable to people that don't have our best interests at heart. We end up curating things like anxiety and panic and overwhelm and fear, and that can be really, 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 really hard. And I don't know about you guys, but you're watching the whole world right now exist in a space of fear and panic and overwhelm. And these are my clients. You guys, like, this is what happens. We end up sick, we end up exhausted, we end up resentful, we end up talking to people that don't have our best interests at heart, and life gets a little dicey. So if you're just tuning in, welcome. I gave at the top of the live some really quick ways to tune in and tap into who you are right now and who you want to be and what you need. So I'm going to go over those one more time, and then we will wrap up. So my first thing is, if you're feeling in a space of panic or overwhelm or stress, just take a second, take a breath, and tune into your five senses. So what can you see? What can you hear? What can you touch? What can you taste? What can you smell? Just list them out. So I see the reflection of my glittery phone case on the wall. I'm feeling the ground beneath me and the wood planks on my floor in my bedroom. I can smell the incense burning downstairs. My daughter lit incense. I can taste fresh air. I know it's kind of a weird taste, but it's fresh air in here and it tastes delicious. And I can hear kids outside playing. So just by tuning into your senses, you're able to actually ground your energy and give yourself something concrete to focus on. I said this before, that when your anxiety shows up, it's a GPS for problems, not possibilities. So if you are freaking out right now, you're probably focusing on problems, on whatever might be going on in your world, whatever is going on in our world globally. You're probably focusing on problems instead of possibilities. Could it be possible that everything works out? Yes. Could it be possible that we all end up fine? Yeah. Could it be possible that we all get extra sleep? Could it be possible that we get to spend more time at the park with the kids, or we get to stay away from the office? Yeah, it's totally possible. Another thing that I mentioned at the beginning of the live is listing out 10 good things. I call this my 10 good things practice. I do this in my group coaching program every Friday. What are 10 good things? Just list them out. So 10 good things. I got to sleep in this morning. I had a delicious breakfast this morning. I had coffee that was so good. I get to have my daughter home for the next 2 weeks out of school. Amazing. I get to continue to serve my clients online, and I get to continue to love all over people and hold space for people that are going through panic and anxiety and overwhelm. I get to coach new clients for 3 months through incredible things like figuring out what their values are, figuring out what they need and want and feel, and how to ask for it. I get to coach them through feeling confident, setting boundaries, figuring out what roles they want to play. You guys, there's so much good. And so one of the things that we can do if we are caught in a space of overwhelm or stress or panic or anxiety is just list out 10 good things. They can be as simple as your first sip of coffee, or like Christy just said, baby laughs and smiles. Yes, they can be really, really simple. So those are 2 really simple practices. My website has a ton more if you are curious. I write all the time about all the things that I coach on: anxiety, overwhelm, panic, stress, freakouts, all the things that the world collectively is experiencing right now. And if, like I said, if you've never had someone hold space for you without an agenda, I would love to be that person for you. Even just to give you the example of what that's like, and be able to have you experience someone watching you without or talking to you without an agenda. I would love that. So you can actually book a free call with me, a free half-hour call. I'll put the link in the comments if that's of interest to you guys. My schedule has lots of openings this week and next, and I would love to be able to chat with you. No sales pitch, no anything. This is a conversation that you get to have with someone who will help you drill down on what you need, what you want, what you're feeling, who you can count on for support, what roles you play, how you can support yourself. And we will get some pretty practical changes moving forward in your life so that you can drill down on what you need. Oh, Danielle, you're so sweet. She says you're the best at that. Danielle is a dear, dear friend. She's also a coach, and she's been in relationship with me. I was going to say working with me, but it's more than that. In relationship with me for the last couple of years. We actually run a pretty large group of local women in Arizona, that we get to coach together on mindset and manifestation principles, and we have meetups around the valley, and it's super fun. So that's a sweet compliment, Danielle. I would love to chat with you guys more. If this was helpful, please let me know. Put in the comments if you'd like another live the next few days about managing stress, panic, fear, anxiety, overwhelm. Let me know, because this is what I do, you guys. I talk about this stuff all the time. And it's interesting that the world is basically becoming the kind of citizens that I talk to all the time. So if this is something that is helpful, please let me know. I would love to come back on live over the next couple of days and share some tips and tricks and techniques and things like that for you that would help, because I know that we're in a special state right now in the world where we're prone to those things. And then if you'd like to talk one-on-one with me, I would welcome that, and I would love to talk to you, especially if you are freaking out right now, if you're having pressure cooker moments where you're yelling at your kids or your hubby or your wife or your job. I would love to be the person that shows you that there's a different, better way, that you can actually feel confident, you can say what you want and what you need, you can know how to ask for it, you can know who to be accountable to, you can know who will hold space for you, you can curate safe and healthy, expansive relationships. You can feel confident. You can feel supported. You don't have to do everything for everyone all the time. Oh, let's break that cycle, please. You're overwhelmed because you're taking on way too much that's not yours. So I would love to chat with you one on one. Christy says, I like this, helps me keep my calm. Usually I'm in a good space, but I feel like I'm more panicked with outside influences. Yes, one cool thing about emotions is that they transfer really easily. And so I'm feeling peaceful and calm and collected and open and safe. And I wanted to share that space with you. So if this was helpful, it sounds like it was, I will jump on live again here tomorrow and have some more info for you guys. As I said, my schedule is pretty wide open, so if you guys would like a one-on-one, that's totally free, no pitch, no anything. Just as an example of being able to be heard in a moment of chaos. I would love to be that person for you. I'll put a link in the description, or in the description and in the comments. And hopefully we can chat more this week. Okay, guys? Be well, be safe. Have a great rest of your day.